but it still got your cherry prodigal.
What's our story? In work poverty. 0 hours, must not complain. What's our story? In work poverty. No security, no stability. It's insane. What's our story? In work poverty. Buy food or pay the rent. What's our story? In work poverty. The money has all been spent.
It's not the same as in your gap year doing a cleaning job in a hotel. It's not the same. When it's a long-term job, which you actually surviving from that particular job.
The government is making bold claims that employment is at highest levels since the 70s, but 1 in every 8 workers now lives in poverty. So what is going on?
According to Adam Tinson of the New Policy Institute, people just aren't getting enough hours.
There's 1.2 million people working part-time only because they can't find full-time jobs.
Another hidden issue is what he calls bogus self-employment.
Self-employment is now at a record in the UK at about 14-15% of all jobs. At the bottom end of the market, you have a lot of bogus self-employment, people who should actually be getting full employee rights who are not, because you're not entitled to statutory sick pay or maternity pay or that kind of thing if you're self-employed.
Low wages, poor conditions and insecure contracts are leaving many people struggling.
Real wages are lower than they were in 2005 still, and people on low pay, I think it's only a quarter maybe, sustainably progress to higher paying work. A lot just circle in and out of low paid work or stuck permanently in low paid work or become self-employed.
You load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store.
A recent report commissioned by the government has condemned what it calls bad work. Jobs without any security, where people are underpaid, have no or casual contracts and little control. We interviewed women who were struggling to survive in the world of bad work.
I work as a one-to-one support worker for a child that's got cerebral palsy.
I'm doing part-time hours with an organisation that work with children for Breakfast Club and After School Club, and I'm on minimum wage of £7.10 an hour.
I work 20 hours a week on cleaning in the city.
I'm carer, personal care.
During the winter months it can be quite hard because heating the house can be quite expensive on a low income.
I've been off work a week and this is the second week because I went on a Monday and then the Tuesday they called us into the office before we went to work and they said you can't go to work today.
Not stop every day, morning till evening, and I don't have one day even free. I work 7 days, lasted 2 years. You're forever stressing that have you got money to cover the electric light? Is it going to run out before the next bit of money comes?
They don't give contracts anymore. Before, when you used to start at work, they would give you a contract, but now you work and you work it.
You're just struggling just to breathe. You're just making sure that you have the necessities.
They like to keep everybody under £800 a month.
I'm stuck for this job because it's the same thing as every day. No relax. Now I don't have time for my family, my friend, my children. Every morning, every day, every hour, same.
Working, but it still got your cherry prodigal.
The latest estimates are around 900,000 workers in the UK on a 0 hours contract, as well as a sort of insecurity of it and the fact you don't know how many hours you're going to be working next week. If you're not as compliant with things that you don't like, then you might be penalised. And if you're in a sort of precarious position with this work, then you're probably not going to complain too much anyway because you don't feel you've got the power to do so.
So what are 0 hour contracts? 0 hour contracts are a type of contract where the employer is not obliged to provide any minimum working hours while the worker is not obliged to accept any work offered. This means your hours are never guaranteed and could be completely removed without any notice.
You don't know if you can make the uniform payment next month, and you don't know if you're going to be able to go on holiday next year, and you don't know if you're going to be in work next year, and you don't know if you're going to be back on benefits, and you don't know if you're going to get another repossession order on your house because you just don't know what the future holds for you.
One child and starve another. Tell me, legislator.
Really, the UK doesn't have a problem with getting people into work. Like, you know, these high employment rates kind of show that. 'Cause what we do have a problem in is getting people into good work sustainably. The UK could do a lot better in terms of having a labour market policy that gives people more support and training to get them into good jobs for longer, rather than just being worried about the cost and pushing them into whatever terrible job crops up just to get them off the books.
It's actually saying to people, well, you're on a 0 hours contract. Don't worry about it. Well, you'll get that full-time job. You just got to have the will. Somehow, you know, if you're really wanting it enough, you'll get it. And that's not true.
I'm a mum of 4 and a trained childcare worker. I'd like to be able to have a fair, workable contract that would enable me to live and provide for my children without having to worry about how the next bill's being paid and where's the next dinner's coming from. I can't see that at the moment that is possible.
What's our story? In work poverty, it destroys people's lives. What's our story? In work poverty, no more bullshit, no more lies.
I've been working and working, but I still got so terribly far to go.